I don't want to start right away anyway because it always just takes a second for it to buffer.
Mm-hmm. Shit, where's my phone charger? Silver.
Ooh, I'm getting ads. We did it, Reddit. We made it.
Look at me now, Dad.
It's my household selling drugs and playing video games for money. All my guidance counselors can suck it.
I'm not going to career day. Why? Because I can't shoot chickens out of airplane cannons at windshields.
That's somebody's job.
It is. Wasn't my career day.
All right. Do you see the sound alerts?
Let me see. Still doesn't say you're live on my Xbox. Hey, back out.
I'm definitely live.
Sometimes I gotta sometimes gotta refresh.
Fair enough.
Oh, there you are. There I am. Look at that handsome bastard.
No games this time. No Magnus, and then female sexy Magnus.
Oh, look at that wall.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Do you have the sound alerts?
Let's see. No, because the Xbox is completely different from the phone app. Like, I can't even give bits or anything on the Xbox. Or if I can, I don't know how.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
So, hang on.
Pull up on your phone real quick, because there's something that you gotta know.
I'm excited.
You'll know who it's for.
Okay. All right. I'm on my phone.
I have the option to run
sound alerts.
A 60-second ad break.
Oh, there's John Cena for 10 bits.
Hold on. There's a better one.
Oh, no way.
There's a couple good ones that I found. And I'm pretty sure they're free.
Give me a hell yeah!
Hell yeah! There's one that says your name in it.
I'm a fucking moron.
I'm gonna edit this part out when we publish the podcast anyway. And my mom is vacuuming, my dog's freaking out, so... I want to figure out a way to get the one that's for Rolk to post when you sign into the channel.
I have to wait a minute, and I'm trying not to keep my mic on so we get that echo from my phone because I want to hear what it fucking is.
Hold on, can I play them?
Maybe you can. I don't know. Can you? Hey, let me try it again. Yeah. There it is.
No problem. Then I have the Space Marine quote, "Show me what passes for fury among your misbegotten kind." I'm pretty sure that one's free too. Because I want to hear it all the time.
All the time. I'm still waiting. Still waiting for the timer.
Hold on, I think I can activate one myself. Here we go.
Come, show me what passes for fury among your misbegotten kind.
They can't give us this kind of power.
It's too much. Yeah, those
It's too much.
those ones are just free because they need to be. I have a bunch of free ones. It's the ones that I think will scare the shit out of me that I have as pay. That, and I decided that the "Give me a hell yeah" was just going to be a running gag.
Ah,
Okay,
we did it.
so for the YouTube video and wherever the hell else I end up posting this is a clear delineation line to where we should edit it. Ajax.
This is the line.
Yeah, I imagine that Jax and Max might end up dropping it on the podcast at some point. So we're gonna edit it here and begin. Welcome to the Sorry I've Been Drinking podcast. This is episode 2, and we don't have a pirate on this time. And we have the only people that matter to the podcast. Myself and Rolk, because everybody else keeps quitting on us.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah! I'm not drinking because it'll interfere with my meds, but I am still going to get inebriated other ways.
I drink enough for both of us. It's fine.
That is accurate. So, my wall is filling up, which is excellent, but I need to get some evil out of me on this podcast because I have a lot to say about cyberpunk, and literally, even though everybody's talking about it, no one is
talking about it.
No one's getting to the point. So, are you familiar with what's going on with cyberpunk right now?
No, I thought it was just a futuristic Grand Theft Auto. Am I correct or wrong?
Kinda. Okay, so cyberpunk launched. It's one of the biggest launches in history. And it's buggy, but it's an open world game, so that kind of comes with the territory. Skyrim, GTA, all of them have these problems. The issue is that on baseline consoles, it does not function. Like it shouldn't have been released, straight up. Like this does not pass the smell test at all. Yeah, they're more importantly,
Xbox, and PlayStation 4.
yes,
it fails.
baseline Xbox, baseline PlayStation, it totally fails.
Which is the largest community at the moment.
No, PC is the biggest community, but I'll get into that.
Screw those people.
Jax, no, it's not as bad as 2K20, WWE 2K20. So the issue is that they always said it'll come out when it's ready. It obviously wasn't ready. More importantly, a lot of fanboys are defending it and trying to give it a pass, being like, well, it's a next-gen product. And it's like, no, it was announced 8 years ago. They knew the hard work that they were working with. So I want to kind of start where I place the blame and work my way down. So we're going to start with the developer, CD Projekt Red. It obviously wasn't ready for consoles. The correct call would have been to delay it on consoles and release it on PC. That's what should have been done. That's not what was done. And the idea that they weren't aware of the problems is laughable. More importantly, from my own experience playing the game, the first 2 hours are like super tight and super clean. It only really starts to fall apart after that. So not only did they know that it didn't work, they went out of their way to make sure that you didn't know it didn't work until you were invested in it. So that's kind of where we're going to start, is that on baseline consoles, the game is broken. It does not function. You cannot, like, it's too hard to play. Like, it runs, sure. Could you play it that way? Absolutely. Is it dog shit that way? Yeah. So 41% of their sales are from the console market. Now, let's be as generous as possible, because it's still ugly regardless. It runs fine on the Xbox Series X and the PS5, which might as well be made of gold bullion at this point because they're impossible for normal people to get. More importantly, the subsection of people that upgraded to a PS Pro or an Xbox One X, that's not a huge user base either. But let's be nice and give them a full 11% are playing on upgraded hardware. That means you knew a third of your audience were going to get a broken product and you still released it. A third. That is unacceptable and unconscionable. Like, and then claiming that you didn't know, that's bullshit. It's strictly bullshit. I don't believe it for a second. I'd like to know why you thought anyone with a brain would believe that, but it's just nonsense. Like, and the problem is that CD Projekt Red has a great reputation, and they just immediately it's gone. Like, I don't trust them at all now. I trust them the same way I trust EA, and I'm gonna have to vet their games the same way I vet every other game I play. So that's kind of an easy letdown. Like, a developer let me down.
EA Sports, pay to win.
EA Sports, what a shame. So that's disappointing, but you know, they're a game developer and they did a shitty thing. Sadly, you know, we live in a time where an unfinished game and a developer being shitty, that's not even news. So it's hard to be mad about that. I mean, it's upsetting, it's disappointing, but am I mad about it? No, not really. And that's kind of speaks more to and that's the other thing, is that it's a big company. Jax makes a good point. She's saying sales screwed over QA and the dev teams. Yeah, it's a business. Money talks, shit walks, and it got decided by the higher ups to release it regardless. They decided to damn the consequences, and they released it. Like, they want to spew some bullshit now that there's been blowback, but hey, what's up, Ocean? But end of the day,
Hey, Ocean.
End of the day, it's just not true. Hey, what's going on, Nolan?
No, is that Nolan? Oh, you're gonna have to read these names out.
What's up, bro? What's your favorite fruit? Apples coated. But, so, they, just the idea that they expect us. My dog is losing their mind. My titties are the same size as apples. I like bananas. I don't even know what's happening. My chat has lost its mind. Fuck bananas. Well, I mean,
Bananas suck.
quite a few people can fuck bananas. And do.
We're getting some dicey territory. Was this an update on Cyberpunk?
I mean, this might as well be an update on Cyberpunk. So, I'm gonna have to go with watermelon because I just like sugar and water.
Correct answer. The correct answer.
My dog is losing her
strawberries.
shit. Really?
Strawberries are the best fruit.
You're a strawberry man. I would have not guessed that.
Strawberries, whipped cream. Perfect.
Apples are just tree nut. But I don't even.
Bears, what the fuck are you chewing on?
Deep throat bananas.
What is that? Stop it! Hey, come here.
Deep throat bananas for pretend. DVD, I got a few outer. Bought the Demi. Oh yeah, Demigorgon is dope. So is Legion. I would never deep throat a banana though.
I don't want to correct you when you're wrong, but the correct answer to that is only the Oni, and you just wasted your money.
You can only eat a banana if you're making direct eye contact with somebody else while you do it. Uncomfortable, unblinking eye contact.
So, funny story, I threw a apple at my brother Kevin one day because he was infuriating me, and it hit his knee and detonated as apples went everywhere. Yes, I'm glad I didn't spend the money on Cyberpunk. You should be. I can't tell anybody what to spend money on. I have a debt of 40k models.
It depends what you've been eating, Zynex. Sometimes when you're eating that Taco Bell, it can be good to just let it flow. It can't be solid all the time. You got to clean those pipes from time to time.
Yeah, with like a double McRib.
Oh, God. Yeah. I don't know how your colon is still intact after a double McRib. Make and sell art. See, that is a capitalist right there. He's going to spray shit all over a canvas and then sell it. Genius.
All power to you, XY1 Niz guy. Jack, what's his name?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I'm going to call you Frankie from now on. You're on the stream. You're in the chat. Your name's Frankie. God damn it. I will call you nothing else.
Cyberpunk, it depends on what you're playing on. If you're playing on PC, it's apparently a mostly solid shit. If you're playing on console, it is a runny piece of shit. But
all right, so we're gonna give it the old. Sorry, I've been drinking rating. So 1 through 5 on its launch. What do you give it? What do you give it, Jack?
On its launch,
well, as it is right now. I mean, it's been out for what, 2 weeks?
On PC, a 7. On console, a 2.
Oof. A 2?
Yeah.
That's rough.
On the viscosity scale, it's like a 5. It's not it's not good enough to be either, so you're just left disappointed. But
It's like sex with Scarlett Johansson. I mean, yeah, it's Scarlett Johansson, but at the end of the day, you're still probably getting herpes.
I mean, you're definitely getting herpes. This is your monthly reminder. Scarlett Johansson has herpes. Because I need a game with that type of realism. No, it definitely can't do that. It's actually eventually getting to my point of, like, it lags behind. Like, if you compare it to GTA or other open world games, like, the NPCs are just so nihilistic that they just don't give a shit that you're throwing grenades and shooting guns around them, because they don't. Like, the game expects you to follow the rules, and when you don't, it does not know what to do. Like, if I commit a crime in that, like, I kill 30 cops, if I run 2 blocks, they're no longer worried about me anymore.
Well, he got away, boys. I guess there's nothing we can do.
We can't get him. We got flying cars and shit, but he's gone. So, I can't even remember where exactly I left off. But, yeah, Cyberpunk devs fucked us over. Now, we move on to the people I blame next, which is game journalism sites, which I'm glad we're talking about shit because, oh yeah, the glitch videos are great. Like, it's just like shots of like GTA on the PS1 and it's like Cyberpunk 2077. But all these gaming sites, they never once touched the console version, and they didn't tell anyone this, which video game journalism is already a dirty pool. Like, it's unlike any other kind of critique where, you know, a movie critic is not paid by the movie studios and like takes advertisements from the new movie studios. They have other ways to get revenue. But video game sites, they need to run ads for video games, and they need exclusives from the people that they're critiquing. And we're going to call it journalism from these sites, somebody is willing to play ball, so companies can afford to blackball certain sites and journalists. So even if you wanted to play the game fair, you're going to go out of business for doing so. So what annoys me... Feral sled. And he started levitating. Yeah, that's a DVD glitch that will happen. It's just levitating off the hook for no reason. But so by their own admission, these sites are like, we didn't get a console version until a day before release. And my thought process is, you're all trained journalists, supposedly. You went to school for it. You should be asking questions and alerting your audience to those questions, being that, hey, we haven't played the console version of this, and no one's letting us. You should probably tell your audience that loudly, because that should raise concerns and red flags. More importantly, you got a copy a day in advance. It took me 3 hours to realize the game was busted. So what that says to me is either A, you're incompetent and you didn't think to check it, which I don't think is true. B, you decided that revenue was more important and that saying something now would hurt your bottom line, which is what they obviously decided. you know, or sees that you're just straight up incompetent at your job and you didn't think to check. So those are really the options. And now they're trying to double dip and act like, you know, they're shitting all over the console version now when it's safe to, when everybody's on board with the fact that it's bad. It's like, but when it was unsafe and it was on your plate to tell people,
don't buy this, it's bad.
you chose not to alert your audience. You knew 24 hours in advance. Not a lot of time, but definitely enough time to raise the alarm bell. And you chose not to do so. Just pure and simple. So those are the next people who are at fault. My third tier of annoyance, it's in the title. I was going to rant about this. Third tier of annoyance is YouTubers. They're obviously not trained. They are giving their honest opinion. That's why people like them. But the level to which... See, that is a good question, Jax. Jax is asking, are any of those bad reviews out there, or did the editors squash them? That, I don't know. But I find it difficult to believe that a conversation was not had that, hey, there's something really wrong with the console version. Like, what do we do? Like, there is no way that something like Game Informer or IGN, some moneyed up people that got this in advance, there's no way somebody wasn't sounding the alarm bell on this. So at some level, the decision was made to say, our user base, essentially, we are not going to warn them about a problem. So, you know, we're failing as our job of critics and news. And, you know, the whole time IGN's running ads for Cyberpunk the entire time. So it's not hard to connect two dots and realize that there was a monetary decision that was made. You know, but, and that's frustrating because their first job is to be critic. And we have game journalists that are trying to tell us, you know, oh, all this inclusion and what to say about certain things and what's good and what's bad. It's like, you don't get to tell me what's morally or ethically correct when you failed at the first hurdle of your responsibility, which is warning and critiquing your user base about video games. So you don't get to tell me that you're tired of seeing a bunch of white dudes in a video game because your moral compass failed at the first hurdle. The first challenge, you let us down. So don't get on your high horse and your soapbox and preach about how, you know, gamers are toxic and all this other bullshit when you can't even live up to, you know, a quarter of, you know, of the ethics and moral compass that, you know, even scumbag YouTubers that I don't like at least have. They'll at least tell you that they think something shit. It's like, but it's like they might be doing that from personal bias or whatever, but they're at least going to tell you the truth. And I find it grating that all these news outlets that have been playing this holier than thou, like extremely left-wing bullshit politics for the past few years, they have the audacity to do that, and then when they know that there's a broken product that millions of people are going to buy, they do nothing. And it's like, you don't get to tell us what is right or wrong. You don't get to have an opinion anymore because most people would have had a problem with the decision of being like, hey, millions of people are going to buy this game. Should I tell them information that only I know that it's a waste of their money? Especially during COVID when people are hurting. So that's $60 you know, that's big. And if you've been waiting for Cyberpunk this whole time and you're like, oh, finally something that doesn't suck in this year, and you get shit on. And that's really the crux of my problem, is that they've been talking down to gamers for so long and trying to tell us what to think, but at the first actual challenge of their morals, they fail so spectacularly. So I find it funny and hypocritical. So that brings us to YouTubers. Obviously not trained. Obviously don't have the same kind of, well, again, journalistic integrity in quotes. But the way that they're defending it is just not logical. Like, they're the ones that are like, well, it's a next-gen game. And it's like, no, it got announced 8 years ago. They knew the hardware that they were on. And they're making excuses, which, you've got people that are making excuses for Cyberpunk, and these are the same people that raked Last of Us 2 over the coals for different reasons. They probably just didn't like the politics of Last of Us 2. Neither here nor there, but Last of Us 2 did not have that many technical issues. It had some, granted, but it wasn't indefensible. Like, if you're defending Cyberpunk and you went after Last of Us 2, you're just a fanboy, and I really don't need to respect your opinion.
You can suck a fat one.
Yeah, it's like, you can disagree with how Last of Us 2 told its story. You don't have to shit on the gameplay. So, yeah, that's kind of my tier of annoyance, where essentially either everyone let us down or proved our worst instincts about the industry correct. And it's frustrating because if Cyberpunk was just dog shit...
Come, show me what passes for fury among your misbegotten kind.
Exactly. I am showing you what passes for fury among my misbegotten kind right now. So...
I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was strong.
We did it. I mean,
Trying to not just get that.
yeah, what is going on in your house right now with your dogs? Oh. I mean, honestly, at this point, what game does come out, though?
What game comes out complete?
Yeah. I mean, what's the last game you played that came out that was complete? Worked fine, everything. I can't think of one. At all. Like, I haven't played Cyberpunk, I haven't watched any of the videos, I didn't really care. So, the only game I can compare it to that I was really excited about launch was Sea of Thieves, and when it first launched, there was nothing to do. There was a couple of skins, there was literally the ship worked great, the sounds worked great. I don't remember any really lag issues, but there was just almost nothing to do. And then we would sail around for like what felt like an eternity looking for another player to go murder. And that was it. I think it's 10 times better now than it was, despite what you feel. But when it launched, it was terrible. It was just boring.
My dog's losing her shit. Hold on. Okay, there we go. My dog hates the vacuum, in case you haven't noticed. No. I was thinking about it. Probably an indie game. I think probably Children of Morta was when's the last time I played a triple A game that I felt was complete? Ugh.
That wasn't a fighting game. I thought
Yeah, that is a good
because
point.
we got Injustice when it first came out, and it worked fine. I don't
And-
have any issues with that. I mean, you had some characters that were broken, but they get fixed with patches and stuff, and that's normal.
Yeah, I think Injustice or Mortal Kombat, one of them is probably the last time I've played what felt like a complete game
The only problem with
from a
those
triple A
games is,
company.
yeah, the only problem with those games is I don't have longevity with that game. I can play those games for like maybe a couple weeks and that at most, and I want to go play something else, and I'll never touch it again.
Yeah, but that's kind of the brilliance of Injustice and the new Mortal Kombat's is that the story is so engrossing and the way they tell it is so interesting that it actually brings in so many casual fans. Which, that's what we are. We will play for a bit and then we'll let it go, but there's hardcore fighting game base that will just go after that forever.
But other than that, like the last AAA game that worked, I don't know. I played the new Call of Duty when it came out, not this most recent, not Cold War, the Modern Warfare, and it had tons of issues. It had map holes and stuff.
Yeah, and that's one of those games where that's going to be the most polished thing. Maybe like a sports game that doesn't change that much, but even Madden has had issues in the past.
We need a sports gamer expert on that. That
Yeah.
is not me or you at all. What was the last Madden game you played, Jack? Tell me. Exactly. Quiet. I haven't played a Madden game in probably 30 years. You can't leave me here to hold it down when it gets quiet. I get nervous.
God damn it, every time.
Who's still fucking vacuuming? God. Am I gonna have to fly up there and give somebody an ass whooping? We're working here. You don't get subscribers, followers, and bits by a silent stream because a fucking vacuum and dogs are losing their goddamn mind. And he left. Great. Awesome. I don't even know if they can hear me.
My mom's here and I can't stop her from vacuuming, even if I
Break
wanted
the
to.
vacuum.
And my dog hates the vacuum, as you can tell.
Oh, God. It's like, hey, Mom, really bad time. Really don't need
Yeah.
don't need the vacuum.
My house isn't big enough. I don't know what she's still vacuuming at this point.
Isn't most of your house hardwood from what I remember anyway?
Correct.
That's a broom's job.
I,
Did she buy a vacuum?
I'm. That's what I think happened at this point. Good Lord. Dog is losing her shit.
Which dog is that? Is that Bailey?
Yes,
She's fucking psycho anyway.
that is fair.
All right.
I'm gonna
So are you
take.
done with Cyberpunk?
Hold on. I'm gonna take an ad break and I'll be back.
Ad break. God, I hope it's Cyberpunk. His chair's nicer than mine. I'm super jealous. I think it's a little ridiculous. Jax, are you still there? Jax, type something in the chat if you're there, just so I know I'm not alone. It's so quiet. Yep. All by myself. Just me and the voices in my head.
All right. I I picked up the dog and brought her into the room.
It's the nicest dog in the world. She loves everybody.
Oh no, that's Georgia. Bailey, a little sus on people.
Yeah, no shit.
But yeah, we'll try to cut as much of that in post as we can. Um, but that's pretty much all I have to say about Cyberpunk. It's just a letdown that such an anticipated title was such a huge letdown for so many people. And not only was it a letdown, but it just an abandonment of values on so many fronts. Like, over something stupid. Like, it's a end of the day, it's a video game. Like, more importantly, everyone would have understood any of the correct actions if they would have been made. Like, if the studio would have delayed it, people would have understood, hey, we can't get it to work on the inferior hardware. If a news site would have had the balls to be like, hey, be careful about it on console, like, people would, like, yeah, would the fanboys have freaked out? Sure. But a good few people would have at least been armed with knowledge. And, yeah, I mean, fanboys, you can't change their opinion, so don't bother. But, yeah, it's just, it was such a big release, and this year has been so shitty, and just to see people once again fucked over in 2020, it's just disappointing. So, that's, I guess that's really the end of it. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Disappointed.
So, that's, yeah, but that's kind of the only really negative news I have on that front. Like, it just sucks that that's another studio where I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to kind of wait until somebody I trust tells me the truth. So, the next Boulder's Gate probably won't let us down. But yeah, you got a point. What AAA game is released without problems? And or like is even like good on release? Like, I mean, Siege is the most famous one for kind of pulling back to a good game after being objectively trash when it released. And, you know, Sea of Thieves never quite fulfilled its promise of
I don't think so.
of what it wanted to be. Like No Man's Sky has kind of come back and fulfilled a lot of its promises. But yeah,
Sea of Thieves just has 2 more things to do, and that's it. And they're really simple. Because Sea of Thieves' problem, in my opinion, is there's not enough ships per server. And then you have people who just hang out in like the village where they can buy all the skins they want and whatever. And that's taking up the spot if somebody's going to go do something. So all they need to do is make a loading instance where all that stuff is there before you get into the actual game, and they just need to add more ships to the servers.
Yeah.
And that's it. I think they have enough in-game bosses and stuff to do now. I think there's enough quests. So just add more ships to the servers, and it'll be fine. They do not need to make a server that is PvE only. That's stupid. That's not what the game was designed for.
Yeah. Well,
it was designed to do a quest and sell your shit quickly because you might get robbed.
Well, yeah, and I mean, PvE takes, like, I don't like the game very much, but it takes it takes all the tension out of it when it's a PvE game. Like what do I care? Like, the bosses and, like, yeah, the bigger bosses.
Like, yeah, you could die 100 times and spawn back on your ship, but it doesn't matter. Eventually, you're gonna win, even if you suck.
Yeah.
You're gonna kill that boss. But when you're on a crunch, because at any moment somebody can roll up on you, murder you, finish the boss off, and steal your crap.
Yeah, exactly. Or they can just stealth onto your ship and take any treasure you've been holding.
Yeah, or just hide on your ship and wait for you to get to a stronghold and you're done. And get to an outpost, and that's it. And then they pop up, kill you. Their buddies come rolling up because he told you what outpost they were going to.
Well, I think my favorite story you've told me is the time that you stowed away on somebody's boat and just started picking up chests with the rest of them instead of fighting them. And it took them like a couple of chests to realize that you weren't part of their group.
It was. And I got this from a Pace22 who is a streamer way above us. And he streams Sea of Thieves almost strictly. And he tucks on people's boats, called a tuck, where you hide by the cannons and stuff, and there's very good spots you can tuck where it's hard to see somebody if you're not specifically looking for them.
Okay.
And so these people just finished a fort. Apparently they did another one because their galleon was full of treasure. So I tucked by the cannons, just like Pace did. Nobody suspected me at all. They rolled out. They searched the ship. They didn't see anybody. They're gone. We get to an outpost. On like the third run of them hopping on the boat, I started just picking up stuff and running with them and selling it. And going back in, I think I sold 5 things. Five items before they figured it out. And eventually I got killed. But I just roped them around the island. And this other time I was on a sloop, tucked on a sloop, which is really hard because it's small.
Yeah.
And there was 2 of them, and one kept coming up and downstairs, so it was really hard. But they had everything in the rowboat on the back of the ship. So what I did is I just kept untucking, grabbing something off the rowboat, and throwing it off the back of the boat. And then going back into a tuck spot. And I did that like 10 times before they noticed. Didn't make any money, was just literally trolling people for no good reason because I'm a terrible human being.
I'm a fan.
And then some other times, like, a good buddy Crispy got on to help me on I just stole a bunch of treasure from people, and they're catching up to me because they're in a brig, I'm in a sloop, and we're going with the wind, so they're faster. But I planned on that. And we pulled a old sleazy Top Gun maneuver, as in we dropped the anchor and they flew right by. Me and Diaz raised that anchor real quick and just roll out.
Pull the brake and let them blow right by.
But I play the game with my daughter and we have a great time. She's hysterical.
Oh yeah. I mean, you gotta get that white megalodon before you can be done.
God, Jesus. Like I said, I watch Pace. He plays this game almost every day for a couple hours. He has seen One. Because he has said multiple times he doesn't play the game when he's not streaming. If he's playing the game, he's streaming it. He has seen one.
That's
I don't know how many followers this guy has. I know he streams almost every day, at least 4 days a week, at least, and he has seen one white megalodon.
I just love that it's literally your white whale.
Well, because we literally got the game almost a year ago. I bought my daughter an Xbox for Christmas. It came with her Xbox. I owned it from before. I stopped playing it because all my friends stopped playing it, and I got tired of doing it by myself. So me and her are playing, and we killed every single megalodon multiple times in one weekend. Easily. Found all of them, and it was great. We had a great time, and we could not find this stupid white megalodon anywhere. And I found there is certain spots where I believe the spawn rate is better for the megalodon. There's 2 outposts. Right outside the outpost, I almost always come into one, so I always go there. But the color is random. And from what one of my buddies read, he's like, it's less than a 1% chance of it spawning.
Oof.
So a megalodon spawns, it's completely random on which color it's going to be. They're not specific to certain areas, which I feel like they should have done. And like, so you could play this game for 3 years then, 4 or 5 years, and never see this thing.
I am looking forward to the day that you finally find it, though, because you're gonna lose it.
Knowing my luck, it'll show up, I'll fight it, and my game will crash.
That does sound entirely possible.
Because that is my luck. Because video games hate me, just like Rainbow Six Siege hates me.
Yeah, you're not great with percentages and being lucky in that account.
No, any type of gamble in a game, like, yeah, just roll those bones, see what you get. Yeah, no, it's terrible. My odds are terrible. That's what it is. I have gotten up to 85%, 87 on a stupid alpha pack in Siege and still miss it.
So, for those of you that don't know how an alpha pack works, so you either...
I'm going to run to the bathroom while you do this.
Yeah.
Explain this.
So, you either start out with a 2 or 3% chance of getting an alpha pack. I'm not sure which it is. But every time you win a game, it spins in like a wheel. And so you have a 2% chance of that wheel hitting it. But if it doesn't hit it, if you won the game, it goes up by like 2%, and if you lost, it goes up by 1. So what that means, obviously, is that slowly it's going to build up until your chances become guaranteed. But every time it spins, once you hit around 30%, you should be getting it fairly quickly. And I say we win a solid 50% of our games. So, okay, so once you hit 30%, you should pretty much guarantee it in 6 games. Rolk got up to 80% and was still missing it. Like, the statistical chance of that happening is so unbelievably low. And yet, it happened. Meanwhile, me and Diaz are hitting on like 5%, 3%. He's up
15, 10.
He's up there at 80%, just missing it. It absolutely brutal. And now Diaz has like 24 alpha packs that he's not even opening.
Yeah, he's just not going to open. He just takes a screenshot of it and sends it to me. Hey, look at all these packs I'm never going to open.
They might know.
Oh, God, it's It's terrible.
Hey, I came back out of the cold and I was icing people.
Oh God, yeah.
Had,
7 kills your first game.
hadn't played in months, just giving
7
people
kills, just
dirt
putting them
naps.
down.
But
I even look out a window that's barricaded. I get a headshot from a random fire. Jack's breaching in, ices 3 of them.
no big deal. But yeah,
Can you hear him chewing on his stupid bone? Do I need to?
nah,
move
you're
him?
good.
Okay.
It's worse than the vacuum and my dog losing its mind.
Oh, yeah, that's true. God, I really want people to start talking in the chat.
They were.
And they left. Bastards. I don't ever want to have a camera. I just want that to be my picture from now on.
Forever.
I don't even know who that is. I'm assuming it's a space wolf.
It is.
Is it supposed to be Lehman Russ?
It's what pops up when I search for Lehman Russ, so I'm guessing.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a space wolf. It is for sure that. But yeah, I mean, other than cyberpunk,
What else is... There's nothing else supposed to come out at the end of this year, right? That's worth a damn... Like, there's not a AAA game coming out in the next 15 days?
the only one really is Outriders. And that... It's still a looter shooter, and like all of those games have been kind of disappointing. Like, even the best of the bunch, which is probably Borderlands, like, even Borderlands kind of lost its luster after so many other versions of the game have come out. Like Destiny is a solid 7 or 8 out of 10, depending on the day. And that's probably the best looter shooter there is. And that they had 10 years and some of the best developers in the business on that. And all these companies are trying to ape Destiny. And it's like, Destiny took damn near a decade to crystallize into something good. More importantly, if you're just aping Destiny, that means you're going to create an inferior product. like for example, the cataclysmic failure that is Marvel's The Avengers. That game
90% of their player base is gone?
96.
In the span of what, a month?
Yep, a month. They lost 96% of their player base in a month.
That was terrible.
Well, they shot for mediocre and missed the mark. Like I hear other people being like, "Oh, the story's good." It's like, the story's okay, I guess. The decision to make it about Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, like, is misguided at best. Like,
The problem with picking her,
is that
in
it's
my opinion,
is
was
that
because
it's
she's not a household name yet.
well, it's not
She
just
hasn't
that.
been in a movie. Yeah, but they could have picked Miles Morales or anybody else to be, like, they could have picked the household name that was in one of those movies that people knew, and did something else. It's like they picked her. Other than the comic book readers, who knew who she was? I didn't know who she was.
Yeah,
until like I figured it out, but
they're grasping for this base that just doesn't exist. Like no one, like, more importantly, it's Marvel's The Avengers, the game. You probably want to play as an Avenger. One of the ones that's from the movies. like, you know, what Kamala, and you know, she's a female Muslim, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, yeah, are some people going to take umbrage with that? Sure, but those people are probably assholes. Like, my problem with Kamala is that this isn't Miss Marvel, the game. This is Marvel's The Avengers. You're going to want to play as your favorite Avenger. And just, so you're starting off from the break not understanding your audience. Like, honestly, her inclusion as the main character should have been a dead giveaway that this game was going to have problems. Because it doesn't make any sense for her to be in charge or kind of be the leader of this, aside from the fact that she checks the correct boxes. Like, it's a very, like, in their attempt to be, I guess, woke is the best way to put it, they took a very cynical approach to it. It's like, this isn't...
Well, that's the thing, like, we're not shitting on her because of her, like, backstory.
No, her backstory's good.
Agenda. Yeah.
I like Kamala. I like Kamala.
Cool, yeah, I thought it was a good backstory. It's not who I wanted to be the main character of this game.
Yeah.
Or play repeatedly.
It's...
At all. Like...
It's Marvel's The Avengers. If she would have been a side character or DLC, or like Kamala, Miles, and Gwen in the most recent Ultimate Alliance, they're great. The three of them are great together. But making her the main character, it seems like such a cynical mistake. And like,
I mean, above that, okay. I mean, we could go on that for a little bit, but above that, the gameplay sucks.
Oh yeah,
You play multiplayer, you have no idea where your teammates are the entire time. They're not lit up. There's no mini map. There's no location to tell you where they are or who's doing what. If you're not in a party chat with them, you don't know what they're doing or where they are.
Yeah,
if
like,
you split up at all, and that is just dumb.
Well, that's what we figured out, the first 10 minutes into the beta, that we're like, hey, I don't know.
I'm Hulk, and I'm just jumping around like a moron, just looking around, and you're doing the objectives like you do, and I saw a shiny quarter, so I'm going to go look at it.
Yeah, and like...
It's like, Roke, I'm over here. I'm like, I have no idea where you are.
And I'm like, what? And I'm like, what do you mean? Because I'm so used to every game being like, hey, here's your teammate.
Yeah.
And I look around, and I'm like, oh, I don't have any idea where you are. And the maps are so mediocre and samey.
It looked... We were both standing by the exact same looking building.
Exactly. Like
5 miles apart.
We were literally describing the same thing to each other, and it's like I have no fucking idea where you are. And like, how you can have a developer and publisher like Crystal Dynamics and Square produce something that aggressively mediocre is beyond me. Like, the game doesn't feel done at all. I've heard from the absolute masochists and sadists that have played like 70 hours or God knows how many hours. They're like, the combat's actually really good. The problem is, none of the enemies serve that combat system well. And it's like, wow, how did you miss the mark so hard? And then more importantly, you based your loot system on Destiny, which Destiny's loot system is only just now kind of good. And it's like, you're not anywhere near Destiny's current loot system. You're in any other iteration of Destiny's loot system where it's dog shit. It is a dog shit loot system that exists only to pad out gameplay. And at least in Destiny, you looked different when you put on your new numbers of gear.
Yeah.
In this game, it doesn't even make you look different because
No.
that would cut in to them monetizing the shit out of everything that they can. Like, I find it so unbelievably galling that publishers like 2K are saying that game prices need to be $70. It's like, okay,
I'm fine with that. If,
are you going to strip out DLC? Are you going to strip out microtransactions? No. To get a full service game, even now, you're probably going to have to pay $100 for it. Like,
right. But games have been $60 for, what, 20? I mean, PS2 games are $59.
no, they were 50. It was 50 for...
Okay. It was, yeah. Like, and that's my whole thing is I will pay $80 for a game if I get the whole game. So
Yeah.
that means I don't have to, like, the only thing microtransactions for any game should be are skins. That is it. You should not be able to pay your way to win to get a better character or a better gun or a better vehicle, depending on what the game is. You should not be able to do that. It should just be skins.
Even skins I struggle with because...
Well, but skins don't give you an advantage over another player.
They
Like,
don't,
if
but
you can
that's...
buy the battle pass for like Call of Duty or something and get the new gun that's coming out quicker than other people, that gives you a better advantage. Or was it Star Wars Battlefront, where it's just like, hey, buy Darth Vader or play for 90,000 hours and unlock him.
It was something like 80 hours to unlock Darth Vader or something insane. But the problem with skins for me is that, one, you're wearing the skin for other people. You're not really wearing it for you because, especially in a first-person shooter, you can't see it. So, like, skins matter, but in a very strange kind of social way.
I don't think so.
Well,
it's different from people to people because if I played Call of Duty right now today and they came out with a Space Wolf skin that I could play, knowing I would never see it on my guy other than in the loadout screen, I'd buy it, knowing that I did it. I've ascended. I am an Adeptus Astartes. I am a Space Wolf.
My issue is, and this is kind of a nebulous, like, because it's hard to put a number on, is I'm okay with your cash shop if what you're offering me for my ticket price feels like value. Like, we'll go back to Avengers. Like, what my ticket price is not value.
No.
I should
that game, as it came out, should have cost $20.
Well, even so, there should be nothing in your cash shop with the way that the game released. All of those skins should be earnable through play.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that game was designed to be monetized to hell before anything else. Like, before we knew anything about the game, it had, like, Virgin Mobile and Verizon integration. Like, it was this laughable cash grab off the Marvel name, and, like, the fact that talented people worked on this is baffling to me. Like, how did you land here? Like, because
and the thing, go ahead.
Because it's not like Cyberpunk, where Cyberpunk, one version of the game is just royally fucked. It's like your core concept, everything about this does not work well. Like, it feels like it should have been, if it would have been a single player game, it might have been a great game. But they decided to make it this looter brawler thing, and it just failed, and it failed spectacularly. Like it never should have been made.
No, it was terrible.
It was a huge mistake, and it was another black mark for
On comic book video games.
well, for Marvel games. Like
Yeah.
like
What was the last great Marvel game you played? I know mine, which is one of the greatest video games ever, period.
well, you don't have a PS4. The Spider-Man game was really good, but
Oh, that's true.
the
Yes.
the Spider-Man game took a long, hard look at Arkham's notes. That was really a moment of,
Was it?
Hey,
was it
can I
a
copy your-
reskin of Arkham Asylum?
It's
Is
like-
that what it was?
hey, can I copy your homework? Sure, but don't make it obvious. And they kind of failed to not make it obvious. Like, the one thing that annoys me is they took so much from Arkham. Spider-Man's a great game. I enjoyed it a lot. My mom's here. Say hi.
Hi, boys
So,
I
and girls.
so,
don't think there's anybody here, but
it could be. Who cares? It's podcast.
that's
so,
right.
the problem is that they cribbed so much from Arkham's notes, and then they had the audacity to change the counter button. So, like, me and Diaz, we've got hundreds, if not thousands of hours in the Arkham series. So when I played Spider-Man, it's like, hey, dodge and counter, and I'm pushing the button that's and it's like, nope, it's a different button. It's like, you guys are assholes. Like, you stole 90% of your game design from Arkham, and then you changed a button.
It's a completely different game.
It's totally different. You gotta push B to counter, not Y. Like it's.
What do you think this is, Batman?
Yeah.
This is Arkham?
I will say, in a strange turn of events that I've never heard anybody really comment on. So, Spider-Man's like really strong, like to the point that like if he punched a normal person, he'd kill them.
Yes. He'd shatter their skull. That was actually in a good comic series where Doc Ock took over Spider-Man's body.
Oh yeah. So
And he punched off the Scorpion's jaw.
Yeah.
Off of his head. And everybody's mortified. And that's when Doc Ock realized that he's been pulling his punches the entire time.
yeah, by a lot.
Yeah.
So
He just punches his jaw right off.
and Batman, who he beats people up, but he relies on gadgets and stuff like that.
Yeah, but he's as strong as a human being essentially could be.
Yeah,
But he's nowhere near Spider-Man
Yeah.
or even Captain America at that point.
he's if Brock Lesnar was a goddamn ninja.
Yes.
So he's essentially a refrigerator that can do a backflip. So what's weird is Spider-Man, you utilize your gadgets a lot in combat to take people down in interesting, creative ways. Not so much in Arkham.
Yeah.
So
It's the opposite.
It's-
You just pummel people to death.
yeah, it's weird that like they kind of nailed the other hero in the other game. I mean, Arkham obviously had come out before Spider-Man, so they're kind of the front runner for this. But I think it's funny that each game kind of executed the wrong hero correctly. But yeah, the most galling part about Spider-Man, and what probably got me killed an innumerable amount of times, was just muscle memory of, hey, push the dodge button. I'm like, no problem. Shit.
Oh, this is the heavy boys.
But, I mean, other than the Spider-Man game, Marvel hasn't released a good game in a really long time.
The
Whereas,
list is four.
yeah,
Four great games from Marvel, and that is the new Spider-Man, the two Ultimate Alliance games. The second one wasn't as good as the first, but the graphics were way better.
yeah,
While the first one was, it seemed like older graphics, but you had, what, 50 characters to play as?
plus DLC, I think.
Yeah, it was insane. You could play as anybody.
Yeah,
And then, number one at the top, hands down, greatest Marvel game ever, Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
you're not wrong about that. But
That game had one job to do, and it delivered.
we're now almost on 2 generations of consoles where Marvel has had no showing and DC has been incredibly dominant. Like,
Oh wait, there was a Punisher. I didn't play it, but I heard there was a Punisher game that was really good.
really good is a bit of a stretch. It was extremely violent and serviceable. Like, it was a third-person shooter of its generation, so it was a solid 6, 7 out of 10. But it was unbelievably brutal. like, like they had to censor it out in the release, and only through a modded version could you see what actually happened. And yeah, until it's definitely the most violent game I've played up until like the more recent Mortal Kombat's.
I love how Mortal Kombat just continuously pushes the envelope and succeeds.
Well, Mortal Kombat is so laughably out of control at this point that like it's hard to take seriously.
Well, Mortal Kombat's also the reason why a lot of games are as good as they are allowed to have the violence they had, because they were the ones who got sued and taken to court over that game.
Oh yeah, and they came ready with their own ratings board.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm leaving.
Okay, hold on. I will run another ad. I'll be right back.
I hope it's Cyberpunk.
Bye, sweetie.
We're talking shit on Cyberpunk, and every time I've got to an ad, Frame's like, I hope it's Cyberpunk.
Grab that. Take it instead. Man, you guys trash your floors. I love your floors. I don't understand paying the trend because this shit, everything else is good. It's the sudden
dog's outside in the snow, just looking at me like I got dick growing out of my forehead.
Oh my god.
She's just looking at me like, what? And it's like, I can't come out there and beat you. That's the only reason you're acting like this.
I posted in the cabin's Discord a picture today of this like snow enclosed house, and it just says, "I love looking at pictures of snow on Facebook from my house in Florida."
That's why we don't feel bad for y'all when you have hurricanes.
I've lived here. I take hurricanes the least serious than anybody. I buy no water. I'm like, it'll be fine.
The state doesn't even shut down unless it's a 3 or above. It's like
The only thing that shuts down is the schools because winds get above 60 miles per hour.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we'll close the schools, but
nothing
when I looked at
else.
Nissan, there was a Category 4 coming, and it was hitting, and it's like, we're all still there. And I'm it's like, yeah, we're open tomorrow. And I remember I showed up to work, the entire sales department is closed. It's like, no, sales is off. It's like, what? Oh.
Yeah,
But Miss Johnson here for her free coupon for a $5 oil change. She needs this.
yeah, that's kind of the that's the other thing that I think COVID has shown is that if you're doing well enough, you can work from home, you can do all this stuff. But if you're not, you're either A, fired, or B, you have to risk your life, or else you are fired. Which I find hilarious.
It's just like, hey, what provisions are you gonna give us to keep us safe? It's like, you need to just be grateful you're working, we're not shut down. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, cool. So you want us all to unionize? That's what you're telling me.
Like at my current job, it wasn't that big of a deal. I was surprised we were considered essential back when that was a thing.
Yeah.
But my buddies at the car dealership, I was really worried about because I'm like, you're literally just getting in and out of strangers' cars that they've been sitting in for God knows how long, and I don't care what anybody says. Your car's filthy. You do filthy things in your car.
Yeah.
Because you think nobody sees you. And we see that shit. Like when we have to remove a seat or anything and see your wadded up tissues and crap. Like that you forgot about, that you shoved in between the death hole in between your seat and center console. And it's like, okay, if this is as bad as it says it is, then my friends that I used to work with are at serious risk because they are literally getting in and out of strangers' cars all day. They're literally touching door handles and steering wheels that these people grab and caught. Like, I'm assuming, I haven't looked up any facts on this, I'm assuming a steering wheel has got to be one of the most dirtiest things in the world.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It has to be.
Your hands are on it constantly. You're breathing and coughing on it. You're sneezing on it. Everything.
When's the last time anybody's washed one?
Yeah. When's the last time you cleaned your steering wheel in your goddamn car?
Exactly.
It's never. Unless you spilled something on it and actually felt it sticky.
Yeah. Then you've done nothing to it. Well, that's kind of.
They did nothing. It's just like they made masks mandatory, and there's evidence that doesn't even, depending on the mask, it doesn't do anything. And they still have that, but it's like, okay, so what are you doing to keep me safe from getting in and out of these strangers' cars? Nothing. Well, you can go work somewhere else then. And it's like, okay, so this really either is one of two things. It's really not as bad as everybody's making it, or we're just fucked because we chose a shitty career.
I think it's a mix of both. I think
it's a mix of both. I think it's not as bad as everybody's made it. It was just everybody panicked. I think the government could tell people that, hey, we're not really sure how this thing works, so best of luck out there. And do what you normally do.
Yeah,
And
like
we wish you the best. They couldn't say that, so it's like everybody doesn't need to wear masks because we were behind. We were short on masks. We didn't have enough masks for the population, and it's like, well, now everybody needs to wear a mask. It's like, okay, so I can just cut the sleeve off one of my shirts and put it over my face, and that qualifies as a mask. Yes, but that doesn't protect me from anything. But you got a mask on, you're fine.
yeah, it's like, and that's the thing. Like, it's definitely not nothing. It's definitely
not nothing.
It's definitely
Yes.
not the end of the world either, though. So,
It's not the Spanish flu here. Let's
but
stop that.
yeah, and I think that's kind of the crux of it, is that it's bad enough that we need to be worried about it, but it's not bad enough for the people at the top to tell us to risk our fucking lives. Like, it's like, okay, well, it's not bad enough that there will be blowback if we make everybody keep going to work, so we're gonna do that. It's like, and then you have, you know, state and local governments that, like, they bought a month of compliance. That's it.
That's it.
They-
You got 1 month. You gave us all $1,200. Some of us over 15, depending on how many kids you had. And granted, I believe that that's not enough. That's not a month's worth of bills, but it's better. It's a good sum.
Yeah.
And you paid for that. Okay, you haven't done it again. You can't expect these people to be compliant. The thing that bothers me the most about this whole thing is the small business shutdowns and telling somebody they can't have. It's like their small restaurant can't be open at all. It's like, well, you have to do takeout, or you have to have outside dining, or you have to have 12 people inside at most, and they have to be within 10 feet apart between tables. It's like, okay, what's Walmart doing? What's Target doing? What
Yeah.
does Costco have to do? And
That
it's like, oh, no, it's nothing. They're mandatory masks. Walmart, this was the dumbest. This is why I didn't take this whole thing seriously. Because Walmart was open the entire time, not 300 yards from my apartment right now. And all Walmart did is you have to wear masks, and we're going to make only one entrance. So because this thing spreads so easy, and it's so bad, we're going to make it so we funnel all of you in and out of one entrance.
Exactly. Like, that is the most frustrating part to me, especially with people that are, like, really freaking out about it because the news kind of ginned this up. I mean, you didn't need to gin this story up. Like,
No, people are going to freak out anyway.
well, regardless of, you know, its level of danger, which I'm sure we could talk forever about, it's a worldwide pandemic. That simply can't be denied. Like, that didn't need ginned up anymore. And, like, you have people who are really fucking freaked about it. Now, I worked in a hospital in the ER for months during COVID, and I'm going to be totally honest, I played it pretty fast and loose for a big chunk of that. And here I am. And so did most of the people I know. Moreover,
At least if you're concerned.
yeah. Moreover, I told 2 separate hospitals infection control because I got a call daily that's like, hey, you've been exposed to somebody with COVID. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Thanks for that. I know. And
Way
I'm
to
like,
go. Bet
and-
you can find Waldo in the first 20 seconds of looking at the page. You're
And-
a real A-class detective, guy.
and then my next question was, so do you need me to quarantine? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, after like, God knows how many calls I got until I finally blew my top. I'm like, do you need me to quarantine? And they're like, no. And I'm like, then you need to lose my fucking number until I do need to quarantine because I don't give a shit. And I'm like, so stop fucking calling me. That is pretty much word for word what I said to not one, but two infection control departments. It's like, oh, it's so bad and it's so dangerous that you have to call me, who is working third shift at 9 a.m., but it's not bad enough that I need to quarantine. So it's not a problem. I'm assuming that all of my patients have COVID. Like, you don't need to tell me that somebody has it. I assumed that from the beginning. And it's like, and just to see people, even in the hospital, who like weren't on the front line that were freaking out, it's like, I literally x-rayed that guy 2 seconds ago. It's like, and that's the thing that pissed me off, was the cold math that was done. Because at the very kickoff of this thing, when we thought it was the most dangerous shit ever.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You would have thought it was the green shit from The Rock.
Hold on 1 second. My wife's calling me. So, yeah, like you said, green shit from The Rock, or from I forget what the plague movie is, but regardless, I saw the cold math of the situation at work. So, me and one of my fellow techs, who probably would appreciate me not saying their name, we x-rayed somebody that had COVID. We didn't know it at the time, because at the time that we had no tests, like there weren't enough tests, so we didn't know. You know, we did our basic precautions, but, you know, technically we were exposed. And later on, pretty much the next day, we found out that 4 other x-ray techs and God knows how many nurses were all put on quarantine. They were all quarantined for 2 weeks for dealing with the same patient. That means they looked and started going down the list of people that have dealt with this patient, and at a certain point went, oh shit, we can't quarantine all these people, and just stopped. Because,
well, we got a good bit of them. So.
And I'm like, and I went to my boss and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I x-rayed that person not 4 hours before a person that is now quarantined. And like, they're just like, well, I don't. And like, you know, my boss doesn't know. She's not the one that made that decision. So, yeah. Not like I'm attacking her. But like, and then I went to the nurses in the ER. The nurses in the ER didn't even know that they had been exposed because no one told them. So the only reason that they even found out is because someone from another department found out that his coworkers had been quarantined and then went to them and told them, hey, did you work with this person yesterday? And they're like, yes. It's like, guess what? Everyone that worked with them is. And it's like, technically, that was breaking HIPAA.
Yes.
Which is bullshit. It's like, so you're telling me that there is no repercussions for the people who are supposed to be protecting us from telling us these things and doing the right thing, but somehow it's wrong or illegal or breaking a rule or however you want to put it, for me to inform someone else that it has to do with their health. Like, I find that completely ridiculous. And yeah,
and we're not saying it's fake or anything. obviously, anybody who's lost a loved one from this, we feel terrible. Like,
Well, no,
it's a real thing, and people die from this daily. We get it.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just
It's
the misinformation and how this was dealt with is beyond baffling.
well, not only is it wrong, but like they gambled with our lives. Like they're like when you're dealing with a situation, you go with the worst case scenario and then you ease up
They didn't do that.
from that. No.
Oh, okay. Certain states did, and it didn't help. Or the statistics are. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of.
We honestly don't have enough data to kind of conclusively say anything yet. This will be kind of looked at for, I'm sure, years to come. Because
and the problem with getting that data is so many states did everything differently.
yeah,
And whether you agree with how your state did it or how your state should have done it, that's irrelevant. The thing is, if you had at least two states, the entire state do it the exact same way with a different population and a different minority and a different economical scam and see what happened, then you could get a pretty good idea. But every state did it differently.
yeah, we had if anything, this should be a huge wake-up call, and we should be thanking God that it wasn't as bad as they thought it was, because
Yes, thank you, Nick Saban.
What-
I truly appreciate this.
what we found out was that unequivocally we are not prepared if
If something that is as deadly as it was sold to be.
if that happened,
We're not saying it's not deadly. We're just
Yeah.
saying it's not what it was sold.
yeah,
Like,
we'd all be fucked. If this was the gloom and doom that we thought it was starting out, the entire world was pantsed. You look at every system of healthcare, and everybody fucked it up. Everybody, even
Yes. Our system, all the one-paired systems, nobody did it right. Everybody got fucked. So you're either in here,
and even
where-
Sweden, not Sweden, Switzerland, who did nothing, and it looked like that was the
they
call.
did pretty well. Yeah, but
No.
they did pretty well compared to all their neighboring countries that had full lockdowns.
They did for a while. That's actually turned. But yeah, it's like nobody did it right. What's truly insulting to me is we've had years and years and years of hospitals making just an unbelievable amount of money.
Billions of dollars.
And no one spent that money on preparing for something bad. And we've had time and again of, Hurricane Katrina, Sandy in the north. Like, we knew that our supplies were dangerously low. And
Well, part of the problem with Sandy is, like, any house or building or anything built above the Mason-Dixon line is not meant to deal with hurricane. It'd be the same if, for some ironic reason, Florida got 18 inches of snow. People's houses would fall to the ground.
Yeah, it would be
because
fucked.
We use 2x6, or like our roofs aren't made to hold that weight. So literally, the roofs would cave in on people's houses. down here.
But it's beside the point. It showed the need. It showed that we were lacking, and after decades of huge profitability and expansion, nobody did anything. And what annoys me is that no one's going to be held accountable for that.
Hey, but guess what? We got that iPhone XS thing.
Goddamn right we
And
did.
That's something.
And
I'll say this, and then I don't want to talk about this anymore because it's just too depressing.
fair.
Nobody did it right. Everybody did it wrong. If you're over here, it's like, well, yes, we did more testing. Yes, I went and got tested when somebody I worked with had it. It costs and now I got a $150 bill in the mail. So you can either do our system and go to the hospital and get tested and get the treatment you need and be in debt, or you can be like Italy in these one-paired systems where it's like, hey, you're over 60, best of luck because we ain't giving you a ventilator.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
And that's the cold.
Those are your two options. It's either be in debt or get luck of the draw. That is it.
Well, and then you
Our
have
country did it. You're in debt. All these other countries, best of luck to you.
well, and it was funny to see everyone's argument. Like, how many people have been like, "Well, just get a better job where you have insurance," and it's like, and then 70% of Americans got fired, and it's like, so no one has health insurance. It's
Right.
like, so you see how fragile that system is.
And if you made health insurance cheaper and better, so people could pick instead of, because 90%, it's probably not 90%. I don't know the statistics. I would say the majority of people who do have health insurance, they have it through the company, they're from their job.
Exactly.
But the thing is, your company doesn't come with you, hey, we have these 9 different providers, so go through them and pick which one you want. You got a couple of months, but you got to make a decision. No, it's, hey, we have this provider. It's like, yeah, but I like my company's old insurance. It's like, well, you can keep that, but you have to pay more now.
Yeah.
And it's not privatized enough to where it's cheaper and it's more affordable for people. And I mean, hospital bills are, just go to the hospital, go to the ER, and you're going to get an aspirin bill for $7 for one aspirin.
That's
And
exactly. Well, the last thing I want to say before we drop this, because it's kind of stupid, is the other annoying thing is that people are quick to throw blame around at whichever political party they don't like. Like, whatever your opinion, Trump closing down the borders at the beginning was probably the right call. And he was scrutinized and yelled at and blah, blah, blah. And then after that, yeah, did he fuck up? Sure. Like, I'm not arguing that point. I don't really care. My point is that if the guy in the president office was wearing a blue tie instead of a red tie, the people on the other side would have still pushed back in the exact same way. Like, at the beginning, when Trump closed the borders, you had the Democrats coming out being like, it's still safe to go to Chinatown, bop, bop, bop. And like,
yes. Meanwhile, in a month, we're going to close your churches and
yeah,
everything else.
But the thing is, if that had been a Democrat in the presidential seat,
thing.
it would have been the
would have been the
Republicans
exact
doing the
same
same shit. Like, this idea that, oh, this one guy is the problem. It's like, no, the system is the problem. The problem is that we've somehow gotten two parties that, if you agree with everything one party says, I would say that you probably don't think for yourself very well. Because if you're in lockstep with either the Republicans or the Democrats, I have some serious questions for you. Like,
right. You should not be 100% in either side.
no, it's because
Everybody's going to lean more one way or the other, and that's fine. It's just, you can't, there's no way you can agree on every single thing.
yeah, like
That this one side says and this side says. It's like, no.
if you've
I have my own issues.
Yeah.
With, like, I don't want to get into this.
yeah, but like my point is that if you've only voted for one party your entire life, I would say you have not really thought about it that hard. You've picked a team and you've decided that your team needs to win. And at that point, what I would say to you is I'm like, okay, I'm not sure at what point you decided, but you're not an American anymore. You're a Republican or a Democrat because you don't really give a shit about America. You care about your team winning. And that's something that a lot of people don't like to think about. It's like you've totally cowed to one radical way of thinking if that's where you land, because the Democrats and the Republicans both believe some far out bullshit. And yeah, if you're in lockstep with that, I just don't understand it. But that's probably as far as the politics will ever get, because honestly, I find politics, much like most sports, extremely fucking boring.
You listen here, goddammit, all right? NASCAR is an American tradition.
That's
Goddamn it.
that's
do it
God's
for Dale.
sport.
That's God's sport, son. Raise hell and do it for Dale.
If you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. Hell yeah, brother.
Oh
So-
God, I got in a huge debate. Me and my dad got in we went on vacation to Alabama.
Are we gonna tell the story where your dad almost burnt down American Speedway?
We can. I really do want to make a tradition on the podcast of a Ropebuster story or a story from Ropebuster.
It's honestly,
Just cut away to a campfire. This picture above a nice chair. Sit down, kids.
let Uncle Rolk share you a tale of mystery and intrigue.
Let me tell you about the. You're gonna find this even better because you haven't heard this one. Let me tell you about the 2 times my dad almost burned down Daytona Speedway here in Florida.
Wait, 2?
I didn't-
Why is he allowed back?
I'm on my 4th beer. I'm not exaggerating. This happened because I made the joke, and my dad's about. Yeah, I told Jack and Diaz about how you almost burned down Daytona Speedway at that dumpster fire. He's like, "No, I set the bleachers on fire." No, Dad. Oh, you're talking about the other time. I'm like, oh, whoa. He goes, "Oh, you might have been too young to remember this." So, Daytona Motor Speedway is the pinnacle of NASCAR tracks in America. Fuck the rest of you people. It is. It's the Daytona 500. That is the race.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl of motorsports. Well, back in the day, not back when it was actually on the beach and part of the track was asphalt and the other part was dirt. And if you went too far off to the side, you went to the ocean. But back when it was a whole circle track, back in the day, it was wood bleachers. And
You there? Rolk? What just happened? Rolk? Rolk? Rolk, are you there? I lost him. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. We're having some technical difficulties. Huh. I lost you. I don't know. Hold on, I'll get it back. Something is flipping out. Okay. Okay, that's what's wrong. Let me restart it. I've never had something flip out this hard and it not be OBS for a change. Okay, so what appears to be happening is that my computer is trying to close out of the app that we've been talking on. And failing at that relatively hard. So let's see if we can help that any.